I want to ask you. There's something I want to ask you actually
Yeah.
as well. So, so I saw a clip of you saying that it's down to the man to bring the feminine and nurturing side out of a woman.
Yes.
Why do you think that?
Because as a woman, I have been through a lot of hardship in my life where I just realized I cannot be vulnerable or open to everyone I meet.
Sure.
Because if I'm I'm a sensitive person. So imagine if I trust any person I meet, of course that person will take advantage of me. The feminine side is within me, but I've been conditioned, or I learned how to shield myself, to protect myself from toxicity or from anyone who is not in alignment with my true self. So for example, if I meet a man, and this is actually very interesting. I've read an article. If, for example, I'm working on my feminine energy and being in my feminine and being nurturing and loving and more, because, after working and a lot of things, women tend to go to their masculine energy more.
Sure. They said
than
sit in
being,
the masculine. Yeah.
the feminine. But I've read that article when I just understood that when a man in his masculine, he tames the woman down subconsciously to her feminine without even her trying. Like just with a basic interaction, the subconscious mind knows and feel the difference of the polarities.
I hear that. I understand that. And while I don't disagree, if you get a masculine woman or a woman who's in her masculine, and you get a man who's in his masculine and they come together, somebody is going to dominate. And if he is more of a masculine, then he will, I hear that. However, the whole thing of, the reason I'm not feminine is because he's not masculine, that feels a little bit of shirking the responsibility, because a guy can't be like, okay, well, I'm only going to be a masculine when I'm around a feminine woman. So, because we could make the argument that, okay, well, if you take a guy who's just, let's say he's feminine, if he meets a woman who's more feminine than him, then naturally that's going to bring out the masculine side. So do you think it would be fair to say that, okay, well then, as a man then, a man's only going to be masculine when he's around a more feminine woman? Or should a man be masculine in his own right with women regardless?
Of course, I see what you mean, but I think it's a bit different, because the feminine energy is more of an open energy.
Yes.
So in the modern world, do you think that, like, for me being in my feminine the whole day long in all my interaction, would you think that would benefit me as a person?
Yes, I think because the masculine serves the feminine. So even if you're out and about, let's say for example you're out shopping, right, and you're looking very glamorous today, you're going out shopping, whatever, and you're trying to get something and maybe you can't reach it, guys will look at you and want to serve you.
Yes.
Whereas you're like, I could get it myself, whatever, guys will be like, all right, cool, I'll leave you alone. So as a woman in your feminine as well, that goes into how you present yourself, how you hold yourself. That does 100% benefit you. Now, I completely understand you saying, okay, maybe because of your experiences, there's an element of shielding because you want to protect yourself. Yeah. And you're right. The masculine in us protects the feminine. What I would say I think works better, maybe a balance of both worlds, is being in your feminine, but recognizing the toxic signs so that you know who you shouldn't be open to. Because there's a difference between saying, okay, I'm not going to be open to this person, and then I'm going to kind of actively push against this person.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. And I haven't meant by any sense that I'm like projecting a masculine side around a certain type of person. No, I didn't say this, but I said that I'm like behaving or like having kind of boundaries around people where I'm just like pushing the masculine side a bit out more than the feminine. But when I recognize that I'm around the right person, that shield just drops instantly without even me trying. But that's the role of a man. That's the difference. If we're like gonna say again the alpha and the beta, if I'm next to an alpha, I'll just instantly become feminine and drop my shield. But if I'm next to a beta, is where I start not overpowering, but like competing with that man, because I feel that we're like equal, or I'm better in a way, not from like I'm saying not from like how do we call this, to be superior to someone.
Yeah, not that you think you're better than them, or
No.
Not like you're above
I mean,
them.
the opposite of being humble.
Oh, arrogant.
Yeah, I'm not arrogant, but this is the feeling that man gives me in this
Okay,
in this circumstance.
I understand that. So let me give you this scenario.
Okay.
Imagine you're in a group setting. Okay, so let's say you're at someone's party, housewarming, and there's a guy there who you feel that's that alpha achiever who I want to attract. But there's 3 other guys there too that are also maybe the kind of beta guys that aren't really for you.
Yeah.
What are you going to be in that situation? Because if you are, quote unquote, bring out the more masculine side to repel the betas, the alpha might look at you and might go, oh, okay, she seems cool, but her energy isn't really for me. Because I get what you're saying. What you're talking about is one-on-one. If you're with the alpha guy, you'll be feminine. If you're right, I get that. In group scenarios and social environments, which happens all the time, right? That's more likely where you're going to meet someone. How are you going to decide which one you're going to be? Because you want to repel the guys, but you're saying you have to be that masculine side. But that may also repel the alpha if he's just observing you across the room and maybe you want him to come and talk to you. So what would you do in that scenario?
But let me tell you something about the alphas. I think that an alpha male doesn't become an alpha unless he has more of a less social, like great social abilities and social intelligence. So an alpha would normally understand just by staring. He will see the sides and he will analyze the person, or like me as a woman, and he will spot that I still have a feminine side, maybe that I hide, not to be approached or not to be there, like
I
approached
disagree.
by everyone.
I think to look at someone and think, oh, they must have that other side, I think would be a misguided assumption, because how people's energy reveal themselves.
Yeah.
So if that energy that you're having in that environment is more of a masculine one, and he doesn't know you, he's naturally going to think, okay, this is just what her natural energy is. Now, he may still find you attractive, he may still come talk to you, but he may not think that you have this other side, especially if there's another woman who maybe is sitting more on her feminine regardless of the men that she's around. Does that make sense? And it's not about thinking, okay, I'm competing, but it's just more, because would you look at a guy who you feel's in his, maybe he's showing his feminine side and go, oh, okay, but he probably has a masculine side, so let me give him a chance. You probably wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I agree, yeah.
So I understand what you're saying, but I think we have to understand that first impressions are everything. And so if that's your first impression with him, he's just going to take what you give him. So if that's the energy you give, at least that he sees, then I think it's natural. I don't think it would be inaccurate for him to just think, okay, that's the energy that she sits in, and we all have different sides, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand exactly what you say. However, I'm still a bit stubborn about what I say.
Hey, listen, we can agree to disagree. I think it's what I would say then is, if you would want that man to have that level of understanding of you without knowing you, maybe you should be open to having an understanding of men without you knowing them, regardless of what energy you see them in.
That's a little bit tough, because I would again go back to the same point. A man being in his feminine, I mean, it's not my assumption, but we can ask a lot of people and they would answer the same way. If a man is in his feminine, he's perceived to have an imbalance. This is how society judges a man.
Yeah, I think it's you have masculine men and feminine men. I think I would say most men sit more in the masculine, because everybody has masculine and feminine within them, right? Polarity. So, and it can depend on the environment, because if you see a father with his daughter, that feminine nurturing side is going to be out there. But then it's funny, because a lot of women find that very attractive when they see a man with a child. Yeah. Even though he might be more in his feminine with her.
It's the ability of having this kind of strength, but vulnerability and emotional availability as well, because seeing a man with a child means that he's caring and nurturing, and as a partner he would care even for his partner. It's not just like a solid rock with no emotion. That's why women find it attractive about men being with children.
I hear that.